Mother Minarchy. No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out.
Footlights, lads, and hear the old boards groan. A tale of ink and iron will, of voices overblown. From mics and scripts to painted sails, we've traded shore for sea. The players will man the rigging soon. Aye, all hands, follow me. From Long John shadowed silver grin to Jim with compass true. We speak the words, we wear the scars, we make the old world new. No gold without the work behind, no legend without sweat. A stage, a ship, a single breath. The course is not set yet. We play a sail, we play a sail, we play a sail soon. All hands to KLRN Radio, setting sail for Treasure Island, March 2026.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And good Friday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you are somewhere warm, safe, and dry, because Mother Nature hates us this weekend. And we may or may not talk about that a little bit today. I don't know. It is one of the biggest headlines around the country today, but there's other stuff we're definitely going to be talking about as well. This is the Weekend News Roundup. I am Rick Robinson. This is powered by both KLRN Radio and Digital Beacon US News. And we are joined today by our usual panel of miscreants. We have first BZ from STHR Media, who unfortunately is still having tech issues with his camera, and even I can't figure it out. So we're gonna That's what I'm saying. And then right above him, you'll see Amy Curtis from Town Hall.
Hi, everybody.
Be getting to her in a moment. Then we have Brad Slager, one of our original miscreants and cohorts, right here from both KLR Radio, Town Hall, and Red State, and then myself from KLR Radio, Digital Beacon US News, the Loftus Party, and Twitchy, because God knows at 52 you need like 16 jobs. Anyway, so we're here, we're live, and plenty of things to talk about tonight. So we're going to go in reverse order and ask how everybody's doing. You guys have already heard from me today, so we're going to go just below me to Brad. How are things, Brad? How are you?
We're doing all right. We're holding up. We had a pretty revealing weather map come up where somebody showed how mice the 80s, and they said, we've won the coin flip and declined to receive. So the rest of the country, I understand everybody's going through utter hell right now, and we have the AC on. I'm just gonna go with that. Sorry. That's the reality down here.
Hey, Brad. I only have one thing to say to you about that. Right there.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, all right.
For you, right there. Because we're looking at anywhere between 6 to 12 inches between Saturday and Sunday. Now, granted, these are men measuring, so it could be anywhere from 3 to 6 more likely. Just saying. All right. Anyway, Amy, how are you? How are things?
It has been a week. We were talking backstage a little bit. Yeah, I'm in the part of the country that's not getting snow, and honestly, I would rather have snow because we have roughly 40 below wind chills right now. It is bitterly cold. Yes, the sun is out, but it doesn't matter because the air hurts your face, and you walk outside and you can't breathe. And I'm waiting on the plumber to come because my hot water heater decided today was a good day to not work. So I'm hoping it's a quick and simple fix. So I have hot water because it sucks not having hot water. These things you take for granted, you don't realize you take them for granted until you don't have them anymore. So
you're saying your hot water heater decided it was Klingon because today was a good day to die.
Today was a good day to die. Yes.
Had to get the nerd joke in there.
Yes, you did.
Hey, BZ, how are you, man? How are things?
Well, the air always hurts my face, which is why you can't see my face right now.
I just figured that was why you always kept a really long beard, face protection.
Well, yes, for that. Hey, thanks again for the invite. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Brad. Good to see Amy. And Rick.
Hi.
Tax the Rick.
I would say it's good to see you, but all we see is a flashing bee.
I know it's
follow
the bouncing bee.
Oh, all right. So, I mean, where to start, ladies and gents? Because first of all, I do want to say this: belated happy birthday to someone who's on the panel today.
Oh, that's right.
That one.
Yeah, that was me. My birthday was yesterday. I turned 43, and I'm no longer Deep Thoughts' answer to life, the universe, and everything. But that's okay. If the plumbing thing works out and they get out of here on time, I've got a date with Lord of the Rings. You can't see my Middle Earth shirt, but I'm wearing my Middle Earth shirt. They put all 3 movies back in the theaters this weekend for the 25th anniversary of Fellowship of the Ring. And I am so geeked out about it. I really hope I can make it because I will be very, very, very sad if I can't go and be with my fellow nerds on this frigid night.
I'm sure you'll make it. And just remember, this is a damn sight better than anything that's been put out regarding Lord of the Rings on Amazon Prime recently. So there's that.
Oh yeah, I refuse to watch The Rings of Power. I would rather run a cheese grater over my gums than watch The Rings of Power.
Ooh. And as the dolphins say, thanks for all the fish.
And thanks for all the fish. Yep.
Yeah, I will say this. Our resident alien decided years ago when this first started that he was going to take one for the team and watch it all and do a show about it so we didn't have to. So I've been greatly appreciative for that because it's helped me avoid some what seems to be very terrible television. So there's that. I mean, can you even call it television anymore? Because, I mean, television itself is pretty much dead. I mean, we still watch it on TV, but it's not TV really anymore. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah,
well, Ordy and I talk about that on our show. How we just kicked it around last night. Where the top 100 rated programs on television, 95 of them are football games.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've read that somewhere.
First time you get to scheduled programming on the list is like 60 Minutes comes in around 127.
That's just
everything
wild.
Football, some college, you get maybe the Oscars popping up in the 100, like around 97 or so. But football across the board. In fact, Monday night's college football championship was the second highest rated ever, I think, as far as college football goes. And NFL just they set a new mark on Saturday with the Bills game. It was like the third or fourth highest rated Saturday playoff. I mean, it's all people do anymore because everybody's streaming and cut the cord. It's football or nothing.
Yeah, and I will say there are some really good bright spots on streaming. If you have Paramount Plus, Landman, really, really good. I've got to finish season 2.
Landman is great.
Landman is great. Mobland was good. I believe that was also on Paramount Plus. But yeah, those are really the two big like shows that I'm watching right now, but they're not broadcast shows. They're on streaming. The episodes, I believe, Landman drops on Sundays and season 2 is out. Mobland, we don't know when we're getting season 2. So it's kind of there's not a lot in terms of entertainment out there. New entertainment. Let me rephrase that. There's tons of old movies, Canopy, Hoopla. If you look at these streaming services, you can find tons of old movies and even TV shows that are really worth your time.
Yeah, trust me. That's actually, I spend most of my time watching the older stuff. I will say Landman has been a big surprise. I also really enjoy Tulsa King, which is another Sheridan property.
I've heard good things about that. Haven't gotten around to it. I can't believe Paramount is letting Taylor Sheridan go. I know
What?
Sheridan's out at Paramount. I think he's going over to Netflix. Don't quote me on that one, but they let him go. And my understanding is tough to work with, but look at what you've got from him.
When you've got like 5 of the largest rated shows in the country, you start to,
you've earned the right to be a dick.
Well, he's not leaving anytime soon. It's like 3 years out before the contract is up. But it was the new management that came in after they did the changeover to Skydance, because I guess Paramount pretty much just let Sheridan do whatever. They never even talked to him, and he would just turn work in and it would explode. And now the new camp is saying, yeah, well, you got to do some things different. And he's like, okay, I'm out of here.
Right. And that is cutting off that's cutting off your nose to spite your face. If he had a crappy track record, I would say fine. But look at what he has put out consistently. I mean, Landman is one of the best things I've ever watched, and his work speaks for itself.
I really wish they leave the cheerleader part out, but other than that, it's been pretty fun.
Okay,
the moneymaker.
I love the daughter, and I love Allie Larder. They crack me up. They are so funny,
and that's exactly why they're in there, because the men don't really like it that much unless they're running around the house in the skimpy clothes, and the women like it because they're like, oh my god, yeah. But yeah, so I get that part. What I think is absolutely funny is all these people that are yelling because, oh my god, they've got him playing Tommy Lee's dad when he's only 10 years older than him anyway. And I'm like, you guys remember that Wilford Brimley played a senior citizen at the age of 44, right?
Yeah, well, in fairness, Wilford Brimley looked like a senior citizen when he was born. So,
well, yeah, but I mean,
but Sam Elliott is phenomenal. Everybody, even the actors I'm not familiar with, everybody on that show is on point and fantastic.
Yeah, it's been a really fun watch. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but I'm kind of I know you haven't watched season 2 yet, which I'm surprised at because the finale just aired. But anyway.
I'm almost done. I think I've got 2 more episodes to go, so I'm almost done through season 2.
But yeah, I was really surprised by the endings. All I'm going to say, because I expected it to go a much different way, but I'm really excited now for season 3 based on how season 2 ended. So
all right,
and we know for a fact there's a season 3.
Yes.
Yeah, there will. Oh, cool.
It's already been confirmed.
Hi, Raptor in the chat.
But yeah, so yeah, we I guess that's kind of the pop culture news. Other than, of course, Paramount Plus on the other side of the spectrum keeps turning out things that make Star Trek fans want to gouge their eyes out and stab number 2 pencils in their ears. But that's neither here nor there. I will say this: so far, I haven't hated it. I really thought I was gonna, because there were things about Discovery that I absolutely hated from the beginning, and then they brought in Pike in season 2, and to me, that kind of was the redemption arc for the whole series. This one's only 3 episodes in. I know there's lots of folks that are like, this isn't a serious show, and it's not Star Trek, and it's not Starfleet anymore. And I'm just like, dude, Starfleet was almost dead in this timeline. I think they're entitled to try to find their feet again. But there are people that disagree with me. So,
are you talking about Academy?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
I can't bring myself to watch it. It just looks so painfully bad.
Everybody hates the new captain. I like her, and I think the reason that I like her is because she's playing somebody that's like 450 some odd years old, and you can just see it all over the character. She's got her "I don't give a fuck" flag flying all over the place. And at 52, I've learned to let that thing fly, so I kind of relate. So I'm like, I don't care that she's walking around barefoot because she thinks it helps with grounding and slouching in her chairs and stuff because that's not Starfleet. Dude, you remember in the beginning of Star Trek, they didn't even know that it was Starfleet. Yeah, remember they used to call it Space Command. So sometimes I think we take these shows a little too serious. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, it's an academy, but it's in space also.
Well, no, there's a ship that is an Academy class ship that is part of the Academy that can actually, instead of them having a training ship, they've actually built an Academy class ship that has classrooms and can still do the training missions parts. Instead of,
Okay.
Oh, they're all on ride-alongs.
kind of, sort of. But
I
yeah,
thought
it's actually
called
on Earth
it
right now.
Dawson's Creek in space.
Yeah, I've been calling it Star Trek 90210 because it does have that vibe.
Yeah,
But it's still, I mean, again, I usually watch everything. I will say the one thing that lost me as far as the stuff that Disney's been putting out was when they did Lesbian Space Witches. That's when I turned that one off.
Oh, the Acolyte.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
Lesbian Space Witches can't do that.
The
Can't do
power of many. Like, oh, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. Kathleen Kennedy's gone. Well, stepping back. I don't want to say gone because she's still going to have her hands on things. She's still going to be kind of pulling the strings of Filoni and the other person who's taking over for her.
Well, of course, she's going to be the puppet master.
Mhm.
But that just means I still get to do this.
Didn't go with Favreau.
Yeah, but this still means I can do this. Mom, can you see if Kathleen Kennedy's hiding under my bed? Had to be done. All right. Anyway. So, all right. We should probably get into the serious news stuff because we've spent quite a few minutes on pop culture that I wasn't expecting to. So
Yeah, we did.
I know Amy has a really favorite piece of hers today, so we might as well get to that now in case the plumber shows up and she has to jump.
Yeah. Yeah. If I keep glancing off it, I'm checking my phone, make sure they're not messaging me that they're on my front porch. Yeah. On Tuesday, I dropped a story from Town Hall. It was exclusive to Town Hall, some undercover footage out of Ohio. A woman by the name of Pat Golder told an undercover reporter basically the immigration system in Ohio can be gamed. Not only did she figure out how to fill out the paperwork for migrants, most of them coming from Mauritania, the West African nation. And it's interesting how they get there. They come from Mauritania, which is in West Africa, go through Turkey, go to South America, Central America, Panama, Guatemala, and come on up through Mexico. Make of that what you will. Thanks for the open borders, Biden. But once they get there, she finds them jobs. She gets them papers. She even gets them social security cards. And she says on camera, if we have people with the same number, I just send the application to 2 different offices and the government doesn't seem to catch it. Although I will remember back when Doge started, Elon Musk and his, very, very intelligent people were running these systems. And they're like, there's a bunch of duplicate social security numbers that are being used for things. And they were dismissed in certain circles. Now we know why. But she also said she helps veterans navigate the system, but for a cut of their benefits. And she said it's 30%, which is highly also illegal. And on top of that, she also says she can bribe judges. She is very, very not shy about, I get money from all the migrants and I take it and I bribe the judges to rule in my favor. Damning stuff. You can find that piece and some of the footage on townhall.com. And I know that the video is in there a bunch of times. I clipped it to embed at certain points in the video so it matches up with my reporting. So if you click on it, it'll start and kind of line up with the reporting. But the whole video is about 26 minutes long. Very, very eye-opening. Very, very eye-opening.
You being all fancy and like matching the video to the part you're talking about.
Oh, somebody had to teach me how to do that. I didn't know how to do that until about an hour before it published, but I got it done and you learned something new.
Nice.
Yeah, I called Lois Lane for this bit of work and I'm very, very proud of it. I hope it really brings about, I genuinely hope it brings about change because the system is so broken and so easily exploited. Something needs to change.
Well, I mean, that's just it. We're finding out how broken and easily exploited the system is everywhere, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to lead off with this show. Also, since we both started out at Twitchy, I just wanted to give you a nod on this one because not only was this story absolutely amazing, it was enough that we started seeing back channel communication that all the other outlets needed to get parallel stories out ASAP. So good job.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
yeah.
you.
breaking, amazing.
I'm very proud of it. And there were others who helped get the stuff up and running, and I'm very grateful to them too. But it's really, really good. And I was on the Chris Stigall show this morning to do a hit to talk about it too. And I've got another gig coming up on Tuesday, I believe, to talk about this. So it's not going away.
Start dropping those in the room so we can pump you here.
Yeah, I will do that. This morning was with the water heater shit in the bed. This morning was a little crazy, but I'll throw stuff in the chat and
yeah. But yeah, so well, the funny thing is, we've heard about Minnesota, and we know at this point we're basically just scratching the surface with what's actually probably happening in Minnesota. But you remember how Governor Gavin Newsom kept saying there's nothing like that here in California, kept insisting there was nothing like that here in California. Guess what they're now finding in California?
Yeah, it's probably 10 times worse in California.
So one of the ones they're talking about is there's a dude that started a charity for homeless people. It was supposed to be helping to house like 600 homeless people, and instead was using the money to buy mansions and a $125,000 car and a home in Greece. Yeah.
Well, he was housing homeless people in Greece. By the way, property in Greece, if you play your cards right, is really cheap.
Oh, I know.
Just FYI, but still.
But I'm going to say something I've been saying now for the last month, now that I've been getting back into the swing of things. When we can literally have anywhere between upwards of 10 to $50 billion embezzled from us, and we don't seem to notice, and it doesn't cause the system to collapse, we are being taxed way too much.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, especially with California, their solution now is we're going to take 5% of billionaires' wealth, not their income, their wealth. And this legislation hasn't even passed. They're still gathering signatures to get on the ballot, and it would retroactively apply to January 1st of this year. So billionaires are going, bye, we'll see you later. And so far, they've taken roughly about $1 trillion worth of wealth out of the state.
Why would you take the chance otherwise?
I don't blame them. But see, I come from this line of people who believe that rich people don't owe me anything. I'm not entitled to their money just because I want it or because I don't have enough. That's their money. They earned it. If I want to be a billionaire, I'm going to go out and start something like an Amazon, a SpaceX, a Tesla, and make my money that way. But that's how I was raised. I'm not a leftist.
Well, that's just it. We grew up in a time where
I'm loving the audience out there that they didn't earn it. The state helped them earn it. The state is responsible.
That's
for this. It's like, well, then why isn't the state?
No.
wealthy? They should have that wealth already.
Yeah, Kara Swisher said the same thing. I mean, it was a leaf from the Obama playbook of you didn't build that, but we deserve your money. The state helped you build that. No, the state, if you know anything about California, the state makes it almost impossible to do your work.
The state gets in the way.
Yeah. I mean, California is losing at least $1 billion to other states because they make things so difficult for Hollywood to make movies in the state of California that even though they apparently offer hundreds of millions in tax incentives, they apply to a very narrow bit of your expenditures. And then you've got this laundry list of union regulations you have to follow.
Well, Brad, let me ask you, you would know this.
Say that again, Rick.
I said, that's why Canada has Hollywood North now. I mean, almost everything. I mean, anything you turn on anymore, even if it's just a small portion of the footage and stuff, you'll see at the end of it, Canada. Even if it's some of it'll say power done in Georgia, done here, done there, and then it almost always there's a little part at the end that says part of this was done on location in Canada, and I'm like,
well, let me ask Brad, where's the new Hollywood? Because apparently the actors are fleeing Hollywood. Are production companies fleeing Hollywood? And if so, where are they going?
No, we just covered this last night on our Culture Shift show because right now, Los Angeles production shooting days have hit the same level during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So they are going, obviously, they're going to Canada. That's where pretty much anything on Hallmark or sci-fi is shot. Amazingly, Atlanta and the Georgia region is constricting, but Ireland is spiking. That's where a lot of stuff is going on. They're shooting game shows in Ireland because it's cheaper to do it there than Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
look at the show,
crazy.
The Floor, where it has 100 people. There's nothing to the set. It's basically a floor that's lit up and is, the host and the stage in the front. It's cheaper to fly 100 people and put them up in hotels in Ireland and then to shoot on a backlot in Los Angeles.
God.
That is
Man,
such a
the
it's such a damning indictment of how that state has been led under Gavin Newsom. Just
what they're doing right
you
now
think
is
of
that,
Hollywood, you
Paramount
think of
is getting
California.
rid of studio space. They're selling it off, and other studios are advertising for influencers to come in and shoot content on the sound stages because they're not being used. They have all this empty space in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, and
Would a portion of that be due to unions?
yeah, oh, absolutely.
yeah.
A big portion of that is due to unions. The union rules, who you have to use, what hours you can work. Union rules dictate pay, like things for the golden hours. If you shoot more than 12 hours, then I think it's like double time or something like that. So yeah, unions are a massive, massive part of it. As always, unions ruin everything.
They always do, though.
They always do, and that's one of the big things when we get closer to the midterms. And I want to talk about is if Wisconsin could lose Act 10, which busted our unions and saved taxpayers billions of dollars, and we could lose that if the Democrats retake control of state government.
Well, I mean, and so I've been railing about this for the last couple of days because there was all this stuff after the church was stormed in Minneapolis or Minnesota. I don't remember if it was Minneapolis specifically, but I know it was in Minnesota. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe they haven't done anything yet. Pam Bondi's worthless. We never do anything." And then a couple days later, arrests are made, and then I see all the right-leaning accounts going, "Well, good on you, but it's not like it's really going to matter." And I'm like, I can't stand you people anymore. It's no wonder nobody in leadership in our party listens to you, because no matter what they do, it's never right and it's never enough. It reminds me of being married. Sorry, Amy.
No offense. I've known women. I am the biggest critic of women. Women are awful sometimes. No, I see that too. And Don Lemon absolutely should be arrested, but you don't get Don Lemon by going after Don Lemon. You get guys like Don Lemon and the whole hierarchy of who's funding this by going after the little people who don't want to go to prison for 30 years. They will sing as soon as you start putting the screws to them. And I think that hopefully is what the...
Trust me, that's most likely what's happening. I mean, hell, we just saw the FBI just brought down like half the people on its top 10 most wanted list quietly with nobody paying attention, while everybody's been yelling about how worthless the guy at the top of the FBI is. But that's the whole thing. Look, I am really not trying to downplay anybody, but BZ's done the job. I've done the job, even if it wasn't for very long before I started moving into private sector stuff. And these people just don't understand how this stuff works. We had a long, drawn out argument on Gene's show the other night because everybody's like, with the camera footage happening in real time, I don't understand why they didn't just arrest them right then, because the cops weren't there. The cops didn't witness, which means there's all kinds of chains of custody and forensics craps that you have to do.
Right.
I can tell you from experience, doing financial crimes, if you're just doing it for a state or a county or city, is a bitch kitty just in and of itself. But then if you go over into FinCEN area, it's like a tentacular octopus. One goes to another, which goes to another, which goes to another, securing all the documents, securing all the evidence, and it's an ever spiraling investigation. It's huge, which is why I hated those cases. I despise those cases.
Right.
But they're very convoluted and very involved.
Yeah. And as much as I would like to see more arrests and more perp walks, absolutely would. I also want to make sure that we actually can charge these people and they actually face consequences for their actions. You shooting from the hip, arresting them, not following procedure means they're likely to get off on a technicality. The deck is already stacked against the Trump administration and the federal government. Anyway, as we saw with the reason the judge threw out the charges against Don Lemon, apparently connected to somebody in Keith Ellison's office.
Yes, a wife.
The wife, right?
No problem.
Yeah, but this is the problem with Minnesota in general. Why you couldn't arrest people at the church is because the local law enforcement doesn't want to. They don't want to help anybody connected on the right whatsoever. They're refusing to cooperate with ICE, and then they're bitching because the feds aren't cooperating with them on cases. It's like, that's by your design. You said you want nothing to do with them, so you're locked out of the investigation. Sorry.
Yeah. Exactly.
But so here's the thing with Don Lemon, because Gina and I talked about this a little bit ago too. The fact that he keeps yelling, "Hey, I'm a journalist," is going to make it a lot harder to get him because there are protections for journalists. What I
Yes.
find absolutely funny though is now that he's doing what we're doing. Remember, to the left, we're not journalists,
Right.
but
No.
he is.
Right. I can tell you, if I went to a mosque and did that and said, I'm a journalist, I'm going to get investigated. I'm going to end up in jail. They're going to charge me. They went after grandmas with the FACE Act for standing outside abortion clinics.
Yeah, well, I
So,
think that's gonna be the thing that does eventually get Don Lemon. But
mhm,
this is the same thing we talk about all the time. How do
mhm,
you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you
mhm,
go after somebody who's as big in the leftist media circles as Don Lemon once was? One bite at a time, because
mhm,
you can't just look. It's the same thing we talk about all the time. When you go after the big fish, once you take your shot, you better not miss, because you're
mhm.
not going to get another one. And
Right.
that's why I keep telling everybody that's pissed off that there haven't been enough perp walks with all the stuff that we're uncovering in
Mhm,
all these different states. Just give them time, because the
mhm,
same guy that you guys just told me was more useless than butter on milk toast just took down half of the FBI's top 10 most wanted people.
mhm, mhm.
I'm just
Yep.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That was
also look
impressive.
at when it
Very
comes to Don
impressive.
Lemon, look at the bifurcated approach to things, because Nick Shirley has been roasted for actually going in and committing journalism, where Don Lemon was committing
Right.
activism. They
Right. Right.
the
And
media itself has jumped all over Shirley for doing their job.
mhm, mhm.
But Don
And
Lemon can
genuinely,
go in and harass white churchgoers because
yes,
they're white
call them white
supremacists, and he's
supremacists.
cool.
Right. 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 I'm genuinely surprised, and I don't want this to happen, but I predicted that it would. I'm genuinely surprised they haven't charged Nick Shirley with something for what he did, because it would not surprise me at all if they tried. Would any of us be surprised if they tried to?
Oh
Like,
no,
I mean, they
I
they
haven't heard it said out, but I'm surprised they haven't yet.
Mary Moriarty and the Washington AG, whose name I'm blanking on, both said they consider this a hate crime. Report this to our hate crimes line. Asking questions and being a journalist is not a hate crime. Calling churchgoers white supremacists and handing coffee and donuts out to the mob before the raid, that's activism. That's not journalism.
Yeah, that's a little bit on the crazy side.
Yeah, but
All
look at the
right.
way that Don Lemon changed his tune just on Sunday, because he was out there high-fiving and saying, "Look, this is what we
Yeah.
have to do, is make them uncomfortable. That's the way protests work." And it's like, that's not
And
journalism. That's activism.
well,
Mhm.
that's why I think they're eventually going to be able to get him, because when he was in the church, he kept saying, "I'm just here to observe. I'm here as a journalist." But away from the church, he was like, "This is
Mhm.
what we're going to do, and this is how we're going
Mhm.
to get him." That's
Mhm.
how they probably will get him eventually. But BZ just sent me this, and this is falling into the category of, this is the fuck aroundest of times. This is the findy outest of times. And here we go. So in case you can't see what happened there, we're gonna let it keep playing here in a second. So somebody decided it was a good idea to try to throw the tear gas canister back at the ice truck, and yeah, it bounced right back in, and it landed even worse in the middle of the crowd. So, hey.
Y'all don't do shit.
These people are not normal. By the way.
Honestly, they, like I've said this on Twitter. They make me rethink my opposition to lithium in the water, because Minneapolis clearly needs something, because whatever SSRIs they're on aren't cutting it. Seriously, it's deranged, and it's colder there than it is here. I
This is-
haven't left my house all day, and if it wasn't for the movie tonight, I wouldn't leave my house at all until probably Monday. So,
Well, this is why I've been saying, and BZ can attest to this, because I said it on one of his shows, was one of the first places I said it. As soon as the governor and the mayor started saying we're going to resist the federal government, that's insurrection. They should
yes,
have
it
been in
is.
there. They should have been in there with water cannons and everything else, and just been like, yeah, let's see how you guys like cold weather when you're wet, motherfuckers, and been done with it. And
Why
I think-
can't we get the cool ass water cannons that Europe gets on these big trucks that are about, I don't know, 10 tons, with massive engines that can create, I don't know, 180,000 psi, and just knock these shit sticks down? That would be like bowling pins. So much fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can't because that's cruel and unusual punishment.
Are you not entertained?
I
would
mean,
be.
I've been calling for it for a while.
Well, I
now,
just covered
especially now that
yesterday
we have-
a whole litany of the asinine protesting going on
Well, yeah, I mean,
in
it's just
Minnesota. I mean,
crazy.
just some of the stuff they're doing is so stupid. And
it's
they-
still happening. The thing about it
there's
is
a woman
it's
there
still happening.
wearing a braising pan as armor, and
Seriously, right?
time it makes ICE look better because of how ridiculous they
Mhm.
are. But
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. It's
again, it's
ridiculous.
encouraged
Ridiculous.
by the local authorities, and they're the ones that want this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, of course they do. But that's exactly why if it were me, I would be trying to shut it down. But then again, I can bitch about it all I want, but I've never run for office, so I can bitch all I want, but it doesn't change anything. So I will say this though, keeping in the Minneapolis lane, one of the stories that I absolutely loved last night was all of the folks freezing their asses off trying to keep JD Vance awake outside of his hotel, only to find out that JD Vance had left hours before.
I just put that. I was just going to put that in the chat because I covered that this morning for town hall. And there was another story that I covered where Back the Blue, like a pro police account, put out on Twitter. They're not saying they're not doing this, but they're not saying they are doing this either. Misdirecting and veterans, retired law enforcement, off-duty law enforcement might or might not be traveling around Minneapolis in vehicles to get these rabid lunatics to follow them so ICE can operate unimpeded. And I think that's freaking brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant because now you've got these lunatics on a wild goose chase.
So
while ICE does the job they were there to do. Ha ha ha, you morons.
So this is twofold, right? I thought that was absolutely amazing. And they said, yeah, we're not saying we are doing this, but we're not saying we're not either, like you said. But then, so it was that part where they had retired law enforcement, retired military, were basically taking it upon themselves to be decoy vehicles. But then you have the people that have been directing the soy boys into biker bars as well. And
I missed that one.
Why hasn't that been covered?
I missed that.
I talked about it today because I just found it. It was actually I found it right after I talked about your article. Somebody else had put up the part about them saying, and this is happening too. And we're not saying we're doing it, but other people have been calling the ICE hotline and sending soy boys into biker bars. So yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna need to see video on this one.
I don't think they have video for it yet, but now that it's being talked about, I'm sure somebody will find some.
Oh,
but
yeah, and
it's just hilarious because this is exactly what we told you guys was going to happen.
Mhm,
We kept telling
yep.
you we just wanted to be left alone, and now that
Mhm.
you've decided that can't be a thing,
Mhm.
those of us that understand how this game should be played are now
Mhm.
starting to play the game with you, and we're going to win. So
Yes, because we're smarter than you, and we are better connected than you, and yeah, we're gonna win. You guys are in such trouble.
Well, another thing that they're doing too is these idiots that are out there opposing doxing of citizens are doxing ICE agents, and they're also doxing now residents of Minnesota because they're going up to them in parking lots and demanding that they prove they're not ICE because they drive an SUV. And the funnier aspect of this is that the people that are following the ICE agents around to harass them are finding out the ICE agents are taking shots of their license plate, finding out where they live, and they're driving to their homes. So they take down right in front of their house, and then they freak out and call 911 because they've been doxxed by the people that they've been doxing.
Right, right. They want to do this stuff, and they never want to be held to their own standard.
In Kerry states, that's a good way to get yourself shot.
Oh, speaking of, did you see what the Arizona? Ooh, let me pull out the bookmark because I want to make sure I get her title right. The Arizona AG said.
No.
She basically said that if a masked ICE agent comes up to me, I don't know that they're masked. I might be able to shoot them under state law. I'll see if I can find the video. The video is so bad, so damning.
And then the AG herself, if she tried that, would weigh actually a little bit more in death than in life.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I will pull the video up so you can play it, Rick, because it's so. Here we go. Just absolutely.
Keep it on. Keep doing that. You will reap the whirlwind.
Mm-hmm.
like Schumer.
Yeah.
The term
Mhm.
hail of gunfire comes to mind.
Schumer's probably regretting that statement more and
Mhm.
more every day.
Right,
I'm
right, right. They justifiably shot and killed Renee Good because she drove her vehicle and hit an ICE agent. What do you think ICE is going to do if you pull a gun on them and say, I had a right to shoot you because you were wearing a mask? And I'm sorry,
Oh.
I've never seen an ICE agent who didn't have law enforcement ICE, some identifier on his body. And I don't believe for a second that these agents don't go up and say ICE, federal law enforcement. Like, I don't believe that they don't identify themselves. That is a
Correct.
lie. That is absolutely
Correct.
a lie. Thanks for that link, by the way.
Well, yeah, no. So before we play the video, this brings up another interesting point because I guess the family has already paid for a private forensics autopsy, and so everybody's talking about that because according to the private autopsy, it shows there were at least a total of 4 gunshot injuries, and the fatal shot was supposedly from the side angle of the window. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna wait for the actual forensics report because
Mhm.
look, I'm somebody that has researched medical studies and everything else now for quite some time because for the longest time it's not about the facts anymore. It's about whoever's funding the study getting the
Mhm.
answers they want.
Right,
So I
right.
don't buy any of that yet because I've
Mhm.
seen the
Mhm.
the bullet hole coming in from the front. So
Mhm.
I know there's one shot that took place from the front.
Mhm.
So
Right. Right. And it happened so quickly. And as you shoot until the threat is neutralized. He shot what 3 times in a matter of less than a second. I don't believe there's any way to determine that shot was the fatal shot. But when you're
And
paying somebody for a private autopsy with a clearly implied desired outcome, I don't believe it either.
And
Yeah, you're
Force
probably
Studies Institute has already done any number of studies which indicate that there's a perception time, a processing time, and a reaction time to begin to shoot. Conversely, just like that, there's a reaction time and a processing time that sends the impulse down to
Mm.
the trigger finger that makes you stop of at
Mhm.
least 0.36 seconds. So in the study, the ideal that they found was because of this and the lag, there's an average of 3 shots fired, sometimes at a minimum because of that. And then under, Honda Pilot driver herself,
Mm.
oddly enough, it was exactly 3 shots fired. Imagine
Mm.
that.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I can't say for everywhere, but I know when I went through academy training, and even when I went through to get my arm qualification as a private security officer and as a private investigator, we were trained to shoot in threes, 2 to the chest, 1 to the head. So I
Mhm.
mean, I can't say that happens everywhere, but I'm saying it probably happens enough that people have been ingrained to fire in a pattern of 3. So when your muscle memory takes over, you just do what you've trained for hours and hours and
Mhm.
hours and hours.
Mhm. Yeah, and muscle
And
memory is a thing.
as range master, I taught exactly that. We went from double tap to triple tap.
Mhm.
All you got to do is watch that video that the officer himself, I mean, from the time of impact, you hear the 3 shots. It all takes place within a second.
Mhm.
He gets clipped, he hits the trigger, and it's that
Mhm.
quickly. And people are saying he should have stepped aside. He had plenty of time to fire into the side of the truck. Like, no, he was stationary. She was moving. He was
Mhm.
hitting the trigger.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, and
listen to the timing of it. It's almost instantaneous, all of it.
yeah. Yeah, and the only reason she didn't hit him is because the road was icy and she didn't get enough traction, but she gunned it. She
Mhm.
absolutely gunned it because partner, wife, whatever that other person was yelling, "Drive, baby, drive." Like
Baby
all
drive!
all
Yeah,
she had to do was get out of the car and she'd still be alive.
all right. So before I know Amy's got to step away in a minute, so I do
Mhm.
want to talk about the last thing that I know she wanted to talk about that she sent me the link for, and that was about the Arizona AG. So
Mhm. Yeah.
The other thing I want to bring up with you that I'm worried about that makes Arizona very, very different from almost every other state where this buildup is happening, Bram, is that we're a stand your ground state. We have one of the most expansive stand your ground laws in the entire country that rivals even Florida. We also have a lot of guns in Arizona. We're a gun culture in this state. And, it's kind of a recipe for disaster because you have these masked federal officers with very little identification, sometimes no identification, wearing plain clothes
giant patches
and
federalized
masks.
is very little.
And we have a stand your ground law that says that if you reasonably believe that your life is in danger and you're in your house or your car or on your property, that you can defend yourself with lethal force.
I want to be careful
Look at that
with
shrug.
that and understand what you're saying,
well,
because you know how that could be interpreted.
Well, but it's the fact. It's the fact that we
Trust
have
me,
a
she
stand your
definitely
ground
knows how
law,
it's interpreted.
and we have in other states ununiformed, masked people who can't be identified as police officers. That is a problem.
They can be.
That's why it's so important to have uniforms and to be identified, especially in a state like Arizona that has a stand your ground law. Now, if someone were to, now you're not allowed to shoot peace officers.
So let's put a big pause there and go into that question, because
how do you know they're
some
a
might,
peace officer?
some might
trying
say
to
you are
save
giving
her.
a license
No, I'm
Yes,
to
he
an
really is.
individual
Absolutely
to
not.
shoot a peace officer.
No, absolutely not. But how do you know they're a peace officer?
They identify
That's
themselves.
the key. And so if there's a situation where somebody pulls out their gun because they know Arizona is a stand your ground state, then it becomes, did they reasonably know that they were a peace officer? You know, I mean, this is a different set of circumstances in the state of Arizona. And so,
But to be clear,
you know, I mean,
it's ironic because this is a Second Amendment issue.
This is a.
I know you guys have already said this, but I have to say this again. This guy is doing everything he can to take the shovel away from her before she keeps digging.
Well,
Let her talk. Let her talk.
He's trying to save her. She keeps digging that hole deeper, and it gets worse as she goes on.
As a prosecuting attorney, I would use this tape.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is Exhibit A.
You've just provided me with lots of evidence as a prosecutor. As Amy already pointed out, these people are clearly identifiable. People go out of their way to make sure that they are identifiable. If you see a bunch of cars that are swarmed by other cars, that's called identification. So these people are identified on the back, on the front. And gee, I wonder who goes around in clusters with masks these days, carrying weapons. You know, I could prove consciousness of guilt out of this, starting with this video, very readily.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. This is the part that nobody talks about. This is the top cop of Arizona basically giving green light to hunt ICE agents and be like, "Hey, just say that you didn't know they were ICE." So yeah, she could actually face several. If this ever pops off, she could face several before and after the fact charges.
Well, he's also giving ammunition to future defenses too, because if you're on the stand after shooting an ICE agent, you could say, "The AG told me I could."
That's exactly what she's doing. She is laying the legal case for every defense. If an ICE agent gets shot in the state of Arizona, I didn't know he was an ICE agent. But watch her body language when she's saying this stuff. That is the body language says more than the actual words coming out of her mouth. And her posture, her facial expressions, all of that, she knows exactly what she's doing. And she's encouraging people to shoot ICE agents and use this as an excuse. And it is appalling. It's appalling. Go ahead, Beezy.
I've taken Paul Ekman classes, and that's how I got people from admissions to confessions. And you read bodies. And when you read people, one of the things that you see, if you go look at this again, is the fact that as she's saying this, she's pleased.
Oh yeah. It's not always on her face, but you can see her smirking with her eyes if you know what to look for.
The other thing to look at, by the way, I shouldn't be revealing this, is people who are guilty or excited about being guilty or about to make an admission do the butt rub. So if you look at certain people in a seat in an interview room, and if you see them doing the excited butt rub, they're about to make an admission, and or that's also a clear indicator that they're very guilty.
She knows exactly what she's doing. And so does he. Because look at that, the nervousness on his face and in his voice.
Where I paused it right there. He's like, "Can you please just stop this?"
Yeah. Like, don't say this. Stop.
back to BZ talking about the butt rub. This is where the term "the hot seat" came from, by the way.
Okay, good to know. You learned something today.
They start wiggling because anyway. But yeah, we need to. They still got about a minute and a half, so let's finish it up.
Second Amendment issue. This, I mean,
but to be clear, you're not telling folks you have license if you are threatened.
Well,
to shoot a peace officer.
No, but again, if you're being attacked,
damn it, she's making me do it again. Psychology 101. Everything before the butt is a lie. So pay attention.
Right.
To
right.
By someone who is not identified as a peace officer, how do you know? I mean, if somebody comes at me wearing a mask, by the way, I'm a gun owner. If somebody comes at me wearing a mask and I can't tell whether they're a police officer, what am I supposed to do? Honestly, Bram, look what happened in Minnesota to the two legislators, one of whom was killed by a guy impersonating a police officer. That is why this is so incredibly incendiary. And again, it's a situation being caused by ICE and the federal government.
Wow.
We are a stand.
No, it is not being caused by ICE and the federal government. It is being caused by lunatics and leftists like her who peddle these lies about ICE, about the masking, about not. How many times in this interview has she said they're not identifiable, they're not uniformed? That is a lie. I have not seen an ICE agent that I didn't look at and go, that's an ICE agent. And I'm sorry, if you have groups of people following them around in Minnesota, like Renee Good was, they knew those were ICE agents because that was the first. She didn't know it was a cop. She didn't know who was approaching her car. She did because they identified themselves. This is
this is where the other part of this art, because you saw what happened with the legislator that was murdered by the guy that was impersonating a police officer. That's really easy to do for one person if you know how to do it, because it's not impossible to get stuff that makes you look like a cop. I wish it was. It's not. But for an entire group to be swarming you with lights, sirens, and federal ICE agent patches everywhere, I didn't know those were cops. But were you dropped on your head as a child, or did Dad use you as a basketball for fun? Because one of those two things had to have happened, and I'm guessing it was the second one.
Well,
but
one is a one-off, 20, 30, that's called a clue. Again, a 5-year-old could tell you this. But she is, again, I remind everyone, she's pleased to be saying this.
But this is the other thing that I wanted to say about this. Actually, let me finish the tape because I know Amy's going to have to bail in a second. I want to be done with this part.
Underground state, so it creates this combustible situation. No, I am not suggesting that people pull out their guns, but this is a.
But again,
however,
but in other words, in other words, yeah,
right. That's exactly what she's saying. I think the biggest tell in all of this was earlier a minute ago where she goes, well, that was the biggest tell that everything she is saying is bullshit. And she knows exactly what she's doing. She is inciting violence against ICE agents. And I know the Trump administration, the DOJ has so many things on their plate right now. Here's another one.
However, I could see my way working around that and embracing that argument.
In what way? What do you mean?
Well, as a prosecutor, she could see herself excusing someone who, air quotes, got themselves into the situation, like the two people, the parents that said Destiny and Sean Jackson, who said our kids were gassed. This is terrible. When in fact they were part and parcel of the riot itself, and there's video showing that.
Mm-hmm. And they left the baby in the car.
6 babies. They have 6.
All right. So Amy, I know you've got to jump because you've got some stuff ready for being able to do some stuff tonight. So where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ranty Amy Curtis. If you go over to Town Hall, you can find me at Amy Curtis. Just any of my stories, click on my name. It'll bring up everything I've written for Town Hall since I started there in September. And it's a lot of stuff, but especially really check out the piece on Ohio that I wrote, because I'm really, really proud of that. And there's a lot going on there. And I want to get that story out there as much as possible. And then, of course, on Amazon, my book, Gaslight, How the Left Lost Its Mind, the Democrat Party lost its mind and abuses voters in the process. If you just search my name, it'll pop up. I really appreciate everybody who's ordered so far. Really would like to have more of those, especially now that I may have to buy a water heater.
Yeah, right.
The royalties will come in handy.
Buy a book to help Amy buy a water heater. Anyway, but yeah, so thanks for hanging out with us. Go get your business taken care of, and it's almost time for us to start wrapping up anyway.
And I'll be back next week, so take it easy, everybody.
Thanks, Amy. Take care.
Yep. Bye.
I'm 52. I take it any way I can get it now.
Bye, everybody.
God, what does that say about me?
I'll let you fill in that blank, sir. I'm not crossing that bridge for you. All right. So, any final thoughts as we come to the end of the hours, folks?
Brad, go ahead and go, because I do have one, but I'll wait.
Well, the mayhem out in Minnesota, what's going on is cracking me up, and I did a piece over at Red State in the VIP on Sunday where I talked about how all the scandal with the money, explaining how Minnesota Democrats are so prominent within their party. So it pretty much makes sense now why Tim Walz got picked, Larry Ellison with his connections in the community. It explains quite a bit how these, also ran charisma-free politicians from Minnesota have such high regard within their party. I think it has everything to do with the money connections.
Yeah, I mean, there's a story that we didn't even have time to get to today that, I think it was one of the AG of Minnesota is on tape with a quid pro quo about the whole Somali thing, which is just nuts. But
I included that in my piece. I got a link to that. It's where Ellison is talking to one of his constituents, giving him money. He's like, "Oh yeah, I can go to bat for you."
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, the quiet part has been out loud there for forever, and I think that's another reason why most of the people that are leaning that way in Minnesota have been so opposed to any type of federal law enforcement coming in, because now the curtain's being pulled back. My final thought, then I'll turn it over to BZ, and this is something that has occurred to me over the last few weeks, because I have been really mad that the administration has not quashed what's been happening in Minneapolis, but I've now seen all the other things that they're doing, like in Maine and Louisiana and everywhere else that nobody's talking about because we're all focusing on Minneapolis. So I think I might be finally starting to understand why they haven't quashed it yet, even though technically they could, because all of the angst and ire has been over there, and they've been quietly cleaning house everywhere else because everybody's been paying attention to over there. So don't want to use the 4D chess thing because I hate that, but this is another instance where it might actually qualify. Just saying. But anyway, so what you got for us, BZ?
I bought the book by Peter Schweitzer, The Invisible Coup. Holy fucking shit. Everything is so deep, and it's been going on for so long. And then my final comment is this. I read an article from CNBC, of all places. I read everything everywhere. I subscribe to The Economist, for Christ's sake. It says, Wall Street for a private credit meltdown. The risk of one is rising. So, ripped from today's screaming headlines of historical Alzheimer's, all of a sudden people are saying that, there's a bunch of companies backed by private credit, and the reference is back in 2008. And so Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase, who's being sued by Trump, as a matter of fact, the credit problems are rarely isolated. And we're doing this again like we did in 2008. Billionaire bond investor Jerry Gundlach a month later accused private lenders of making garbage loans and predicted that the next financial crisis will come from private credit. We're going to do this all over again.
History doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme, so I'm not surprised. All right, Brad, you got a favorite child before we do the tell everybody where to find everybody thing?
Oh man, that's there's so many. I'm gonna go with the melodrama over at 60 Minutes. I've covered this in my daily column where Barry Weiss has been accused of censorship. She dared to hold back a segment on 60 Minutes until it was better.
Yeah.
Well, they played that on Sunday now, which shut everybody up as far as complaining for the last month, except they went back to complaining. Well, she put it on this week because it was opposite a football game and nobody watched.
Yeah, that's it. No, she put it on this week. She was finally able to vet the sourcing because she doesn't want another fucking lawsuit, dumbasses.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's like, so she was censoring people, and then, no, we broadcasted. Oh, you did it on the wrong day. It's just amazing.
Nice. All right, BZ, for you, favorite broadcast, favorite story of the week.
Almost anything that occurred at Davos. Howard Lutnick. Did you guys hear Howard Lutnick's speech at Davos? About 2.5 minutes. OMFG, that was classic. Oh, yeah, loved it.
Basically telling all the old money liberals that, hey, this new world order idea you guys have, yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. That was awesome. Anyway. Yeah, as far as for me, I think, again, one of my favorite stories this week, I have two. One, the Davos thing, because, watching Gavin Newsom, basically admit that he lust after Trump was kind of weird. And then, finding out that the worthless guy at the top of the FBI has been quietly taking down their top 10 most wanted while nobody was looking. So, just saying. All right, Brad, where can folks find you? Because we do got to jump because I got cold weather coming in here soon, and this place gets a little colder than I like, so I'm gonna have to turn the heater on.
Gotcha. Well, as I said, daily over at townhall.com with my media column there. Ripped from the headlines. Also on the front page of Red State, I've got a podcast I got to get ramped back up when my tech issues are cleared up, called Liable Sources, and also right here on this network. Thursday nights, Tuesday nights with half of our crew. But if you need more of me, if you go to Jitter, I am at Martini Shark.
All right, and BZ, where can folks find you and the 3,000 people that checked out your show last night?
Pretty astounding. I'm gobsmacked. I'm BZ from BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Media Network, and also courtesy of KLRN. Here, too, courtesy of Mr. Rick Robinson. Why tax the Rick? I don't get that. Tuesday and Thursday nights on KLRN, and also on SHR, 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern. 10 p.m. Central and 11 p.m. Eastern. I am the conservative Sherpa. Thanks, Rick.
Not a problem. All right, folks, as far as for me, as long as everything holds as far as the weather, you should see me later with Aggie Rican at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night, weather dependent, it should see Amish and I back with Juxtapositions. Sunday night, we're back with Kingdom and Country. And then Monday night, America Off the Rails. Don't forget, Rick Robinson's show has a new schedule Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from noon to 2, because trying to get my ass out of bed in the middle of the winter early has not been working out for me. So we're going to slide things a little bit later for a while. Plus, that way, even if I'm not carrying Earl, we can pimp Earl. So, promote Earl.
Did you just
pimping Earl sounds really bad. So we're gonna promote, not pimp. Anyway, on that note, I'm getting out of here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long day already, and I got more work ahead of me. So for those of you in the middle of this winter storm, please make sure that you are not out and about if you can avoid it. And we'll see you when we see you. Want to thank everybody for taking the time to hang out. Want to thank Amy Curtis, Brad Slager, and BZ for hanging out with me. This has been the Weekend News Roundup, powered by KLRN Radio, Digital Beacon US News, and officially SHR Media, because you guys are almost always on with us anyway. And I can't technically give Town Hall credit because they might yell at me. Bye, everybody. Say goodnight, Gracie.